The EREF stands for the Environmental Research and Education Foundation. Its mission is to advance sustainable waste management practices through research and education for the solid waste field and the public that it serves. My role is president and CEO of the foundation. However, I have a PhD in environmental engineering, and so I'm also one of the technical leads in the organization that lead 4 core programs, providing research grants to universities to advance the science, providing scholarships to graduate students to help educate students as well as advance the science, and as well as compiling data and then providing educational opportunities as well. From a recycling perspective, there are various opportunities. I think really use of recycled materials is really in its infancy in many ways. And so there's a lot more that can be done to incorporate recycling and incorporate recycled materials. Part of that is to get a better handle on understanding what happens with those recycled materials, both off-site and as part of the recycling matrix, but also on-site, and how to integrate and use those materials. And a lot of that opportunity results in understanding better from a life cycle perspective how to integrate those materials and work with those materials. I think the integration of full cost accounting with life cycle analysis to understand emissions is critical. And to that end, there are many methods out there that don't rely on site-specific information. I think it's critical to make sure that the site-specific analysis of greenhouse gas emissions occurs so that one can understand on a project-by-project basis what are the benefits and what are the costs in terms of understanding the implications of the emissions. And so that results in, there are 2 factors in my view. One is optimization, optimizing the practices on site as well as how you acquire the materials, and then innovation, making sure that you innovate to the extent practical where that makes sense. As I mentioned before, I think that the future is really wide open. There are various factors that come into play when we think about the future. I think there are some interconnectivity within other industries that can create some pressures. The use of fly ash for construction materials, for example, creating shortages over time as various coal-fired power plants in the United States close out. That reduces a source of fly ash that's typically used in concrete production. Those will create stressors, for example. There are other ways that can come into play. Innovating how we implement recycled materials. So using the concrete as an example. Instead of using concrete for aggregate, for roadbed material as a way to reuse that concrete, being innovative about repolymerizing the concrete material so that that material could then be used from a structural basis for reuse. So there are different ways that recycling, I think, in the future will add more value to construction projects as we move forward. And part of that is advancing innovation and the science.